Welcome to Charm Conversations, an interview series that focuses on meeting some of the individuals in the hypnosis community and finding out a little bit more about them. I'm Sai. I'm going to be your host through these conversations, and I've had the benefit of meeting quite a few interesting individuals, both stateside and internationally, who I felt were great individuals to speak about what they see in the community, what got them started in hypnosis, and why they're here. So let's take a few minutes, talk to each one of them, get an idea about where they see the community going, where it's been, how they got started in hypnosis, and how they're just like the rest of us, looking for an interesting time and figuring out the human mind. Here at Charmed, we know it's the holidays, and you just feel like all the pressure is coming down on top of you. But just around the corner, there's hope, a little bit of light, and a little bit of fun on the horizon. Charmed Online 2021 happens in January 2021, and tickets are still on sale for the low price of $25. Every ticket you get gets you into the pre-con classes, which will include such names as Wise Guy, The Secret Subject and Allison, and Lee Allure, in addition to the 3 days of fun following with the full convention. Pick up your ticket now and come join us for some after the holidays hypnosis, education, and fun. We'll see you there. My next subject to be interviewed is Sex Obsessed Lesbian, someone who was a blast to talk to and who has a self-proclaimed penchant for erotic hypnosis and puns, or so they say. Here she is, Sex Obsessed Lesbian. Alright, so we are talking to the Sex Obsessed Lesbian, otherwise known as Soul, or a lot of other interesting names, I'm sure. Right now I'm looking at a very gorgeous image as your icon.
It's the rainbow dildo of power.
You know, everybody needs one of those in their life.
I don't actually own one, which is one of my greatest shames, but it is just my icon now, so I should really get on that, shouldn't I?
Hey, you know what? Everybody just does things how they want to. So, anyways, before I derail this, so what were your pronouns and you go by?
Yeah, so my pronouns are she, her, and I go by Sex Obsessed Lesbian or Soul. If you meet me in real life, I will give you a more name-like name, but on the internet, that is me.
Yay! So what do you consider to be your resume as a member of the hypnosis community, and what do you really do?
The top resume line says bad puns, and the rest of the resume is just puns. No. I am I like to say I'm a switch-leaning top, which is more toppy than a top-leaning switch, but not quite pure top. So still figuring out what any like switchy or bottomy stuff looks like for me, but mostly a top and a tist. And I've been in the hypnosis community for like 5 or 6 years. Is that true? How does time work?
It moves forward, but not backward.
Does it though? 2020 is like making me question that.
It just seems to be in a loop there, so we're going to leave that alone though.
Time is a flat circle. I've been in the hypnosis community for like 5 or 6 years. I like to sometimes I say that I'm a very vanilla hypno-kinkster, by which I mean I'm just like, which I realize is an oxymoron, but like the thing I am trying to express is that I feel very not edgy in my play and my kinks, and have actually a lot of, fun, kinky imposter syndrome about that. But like I'm not into pain or non-con or anything like that. I just like, I don't know, I like people having a good time, and if I am mean to people, it is in the context of like, killing someone with pleasure. Wait, is that the idiom? Oh my god. Killing them with
kindness, yes.
Killing them with kindness, yes.
I think there's some people who would love to be killed with pleasure, though.
I mean, yes.
Death play from a natural position.
Not here for the death play, but if to those of you who are A+, I salute you, but I just want everyone to have a good time, and I just want to know that everyone's having a good time, and I just want to cuddle afterwards. But which is not to say I don't play with power or anything like that, but just my kink stays on the lighter side, and stays out of, pain and CNC and that sort of stuff. Um, Big into silliness and just letting people have a good time. My biggest soapbox in the community is probably the "there's no such thing as a bad subject" soapbox, and I teach a class on how to work with like newer or nervous subjects, or those people who think like, oh no, I can't be hypnotized, or who are like really stressed out about. I apologize for my street noise.
That's okay.
Great. I teach a class called Setting Your Subjects Up for Success, which is about working with newer or nervous subjects, or people who are worried they can't be hypnotized, or who have been told by others that they're a bad subject and they built up a bunch of kind of baggage about it. Not because I'm an expert by any means, it's just something I've thought a lot about, because it's a shitty experience to feel like you're no good at this thing that you think is really hot and you want to be able to do. So that's one of the things I yell about frequently, hopefully to some effect.
I definitely think that is covered by more than a few people in previous conversations, but I absolutely agree. I think that's actually a fantastic class. Just because this one is supported by Charmed, are you going to bring it to Charmed this year? Charmed Online 2021?
You know what? Probably. I don't.
Yay!
I often can't make it to Charmed in real life because I have my other hats include a weekend con thing, not for kink, the weekend before. But now that everything's online, maybe I can. I should get on that.
Because I absolutely want to see that in the list, because I want to sign up for that. I am still working on the whole working with new subjects thing, so that is amazing, fantastic. Would love to listen in.
Yeah, I should. Why don't I make sure to ask you for the submission link after this class?
I will absolutely pass that across.
Yeah. This is where I give my disclaimer that it has been a very long day at work and I'm very sleepy, so I'm making less sense than usual, but we're gonna roll with it. Nice.
Don't worry, I make absolutely no sense whatsoever, so people will probably be like, all right, these two are hot messes, just leave them alone, listen to them, let them go.
Woohoo! Sounds good.
All right, so you've talked about how long you've been in the hypnosis community. What got you interested in hypnosis in the first place, though?
Oh, man. So like many folks in the community, I suspect some form of this has been latent for a while. I was not a Jungle Book person, or a Jafar person, or a Scooby-Doo creepy clown person. As far as I can tell, I had a crush on Jean Grey and was kind of hot for telepathy when I was, prepubescent watching X-Men cartoons. I'm pretty sure the first thing that might qualify as a root for me is being weirdly fascinated with pickup artist websites that I discovered the summer before freshman year of high school, I think. And I was just like, wow, you could really make a woman want you without her even knowing that you're doing it, and also this makes me feel kind of funny. I was also figuring out that I was queer that summer. It was an interesting summer.
There was a lot of lessons learned at that time. I think that was a good summer.
Yeah, no, I'm into it. Maybe the person I am today.
Yay!
But I hope better at a lot of things than 14-year-old me. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so I'm trying to think. I probably realized at some point after I had started watching porn and discovering the world of sex internet that you could Google for things like hypnosis stage shows and hypnotic orgasms and that sort of thing. That was the thing that stage shows did, and that was quite interesting and stimulating. Yes. And at some point I found Hypno Tumblr, and I was like, these people are talking about this thing that I kind of fetishize now like it's a real thing that you can actually do to each other. This is very confusing. Um, but I clicked around enough, and like I read some extremely hot stories that were clearly fantasy, but also saw people talking about things that it seemed like they'd done in real life. And I was like, wow, is this actually this is actually a thing, isn't it? Um, and I had pretty recently, just like tangentially, graduated college and started exploring uh, the kink scene on just the urging of a friend who thought it would be a good time for shits and giggles. And so I went to a hypno kink class, and yeah, and that was the it's all been up and or downhill from there.
I think that everybody can kind of commiserate with you on that. I think there's probably a whole dissertation that could go on between the Jungle Book, the Jafar, the Scary Clown, and Scooby-Doo. Apparently there's one for Captain Underpants now. Yeah, there's this whole...
I've got a friend who's, for them it was the apparently the like Lilo and Stitch TV series. There was a little tiny mind control alien at one point. That's what got them, and I think it's the best.
I think that's awesome, just because I'm such a huge fan of Stitch, but I didn't know that. Oh, missed that one.
No, so there must have been just like that must have been the summer that everything was going, like everything was churning away in my brain, because I did not consciously connect it to the discovering pickup artist websites at the time. To be clear, I'm not a pickup artist. I like was interested in the content of these websites, and it made me feel funny for like, a summer, and then I was done with it. But that same summer, I wrote this what was supposed to be a novel, because I started many, many novels at age 13, and then, predictably didn't do anything with them. But I wrote this story about some like Wednesday Addams type girl who discovered hypnosis and planned to like bring the entire school under her thrall. And I reread it recently, and it's just, oh my god, I'm clearly so horny for this.
I think that many people in the audience would absolutely understand that. I can remember probably more than a few fantasies that tie into something extremely similar, so
yeah.
There's no judgment from this side of the microphone, or probably for anybody who's listening. That.
No, the only judgment is the cringiness of 13-year-old prose. Yikes.
Oh, well, we forgive ourselves for the inexperience of the time.
Working on it.
Right. Yeah, there are some things that hang on there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Since we're talking about you just starting off in the hypnosis world, what would be a piece of advice for maybe somebody who's new in the hypnosis world, a new listener, somebody who just stumbled across this? What would you give them as a piece of advice for starting out in the hypnosis world?
If you can manage to do your first hypnotic forays, or like somewhere in that first bit of time in the hypnosis world, to work with an experienced hypno person, like to trans partner with someone who's done this a lot, or to even just like chat with someone who's done this a lot for advice, definitely do it, because I had an extremely mediocre first hypno partner. I like, he was a nice guy, but just like, I never got anything resembling a good pre-talk, and so for ages and ages and ages after that, I just like didn't quite understand how hypnosis worked, and carried with me the like, oh, I'm afraid of this, and like, oh, I'm a bad subject and I can't be hypnotized, but also I'm afraid that it would work too well on me and that I would get like stuck in hypnosis, and like just a lot of weird shit that I think could have been way easier to deal with if I'd had a good pre-talk and like started exploring this shit with someone who could speak to those points.
And that's a very good piece of advice.
It's a good piece of advice. I'm going to revise that statement, actually, to like if you can work with or even just talk to someone experienced, or like ask questions of experienced folks on the internet, great. But honestly, just like start with someone you feel comfortable with, actually, is what I'm going to revise that statement to. Because, like, in retrospect, like, there was a bunch of stuff that I was, like, uneasy about, but I think if I'd been playing with someone I felt closer to, I could have talked about them. And instead, it was this guy I met at a random class who also kinked on this thing. It was like, should we practice? Like, I guess so, sure. And it was not a great scene.
I think we all go through situations like that. I did the Hypnosis 101 class at term this last year, and let's just say there are some individuals that you get paired up with that are so in their own heads, it makes it difficult, and that affects your own confidence. That affects, your perception of what you can do with hypnosis.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
great to have somebody who's experienced who can be like, oh, no, totally, you should have done X, Y, or Z, or, oh, no, that's interesting. Somebody's talked about this before, or have you looked on the internet?
Absolutely. And also just like it is like it's important to be working with someone you can talk to and feel comfortable with, and especially when you're starting out, to be able to share like I'm excited about X and worried about Y, um, is is pretty important and will help you have a better time because so much of it is in your head. So it's important to feel comfortable. And also
Well,
just like if you're listening to this recording, you probably know that there is a very wide world of hypno folks out there, but like you can hold out for someone you feel good and excited about to a certain extent. Like you don't just need to take the first potential trans partner who comes along. You can be picky.
rapport is a thing. Having rapport with
Mm-hmm.
individuals, feeling like you're comfortable with them, and understanding that maybe there's aspects of some people that don't really click well with you. It could be verbiage, it could be their intonation, it could be just their voice cadence. There are 1,001 things, but any one of those things can make it difficult for you to drop for that first time, or
Yep.
to help find those exciting moments for yourself. So, no, I think that's a solid point.
Absolutely. Also, to add insult to injury, this guy almost gave me mono. That wasn't fun.
Ow! Okay, see, this is the reason why we vet our partners. I'm just saying.
I mean, like, anyone can accidentally almost give someone mono. Like, it wasn't like he did it maliciously, but also, like, I don't know. I'm not really sexually interested in men, so I would be like, I don't want to make out. I just want to do, like, X, Y, and Z hypnosis things. And he'd be like, oh, but are you sure? And it's like, and in retrospect, it's like, I just should have noped right out of that. And so after we played, he'd be like, I'm turned on. I want to make out. Do you want to make out? And I was like, fuck. Like, and kids, this is why we don't negotiate up after a scene, because I was all like
Yep.
turned on from the like practicing we've been doing. And so I was like, like, sure, whatever, it'll be fine. And it was super mediocre because turns out I'm gay. But then he texted me the next week and was like, turns out I have mono. So
Ouch.
so hey buddy, if you're out there listening to this, if you stayed in the scene and are saying, oh wow, that sounds familiar, I don't hold it against you. I'm sorry, it's such a good story, but also I hope you have learned a little bit about negotiating since then. Oh god.
I wouldn't worry about it too much. And listener, if you are out there, don't worry. There's hope for everybody. We have a convention coming up in January. We have a number of wonderful talks. Please come listen in. So,
No. Yeah.
Poor guy.
Hope he's doing okay. Wonder where he's at.
Well, moving on, because let's not just sit and sulk on him. What you talked about before we started about the soapbox that you love to get on, but what's one rumor? Sorry, what is one rumor you like to dispel about hypnosis in general?
A rumor. Maybe I live on a main street. It's a time. A rumor I'd like to dispel about hypnosis is that that it that suggestions are always, that suggestions feel compulsory or that you're doing it wrong, I think. Like, I hear a lot of people saying, like, oh, well, I don't know, like, stuck my hand to a wall when my hypnotist told me to, but it kind of felt like I was playing along, so the hypnosis didn't really work. And it's like, no, friend, no, I am like 80% sure it was working. Because people have the expectation that it will feel completely automatic and completely compulsory and like irresistible. And so if it doesn't feel like that, they say, oh no, it's not working, I can't do this thing, and then are anywhere from like chill about it to like very sad about it. But like, no, some people experience the automatic feeling right off the bat. Some people, it feels somewhere along the spectrum of playing along. And like, I don't know, if you're doing a kink scene and you feel, I don't know, afraid or powerless, like, that's kind of playing along too. Like, if you poked at that feeling, you'd be like, am I actually in danger? No, I'm playing with this person who I like, who would stop if I told them to stop, but I'm enjoying the feeling of feeling overwhelmed and helpless and powerless, whatever. So I'm just going to lean into it and roll with it. And I think a lot of hypnotic effects, especially when you're starting out, are like that.
I think that's a good perspective on it, because I remember the same problem. I have that little voice in the back of my head that's analyzing everything, and the conversation was, well, was I really entranced? Was it actually working with me? And I think the part that makes me laugh the most now is that here I've been doing it for like roughly 10 months, that now I get to shut that little voice up when it's like, oh, did that actually happen? Yes, you dropped like a goddamn stone. Don't even play, dude.
I love it.
But you're right. It's getting out of your own way. It's enjoying the experience, learning what it is, that everybody's trance is different. Everybody's handling of suggestions, their ability to do different things and skills effectively are all different. And it just takes time and exploration.
For sure. And if you find a person or persons you can do that exploration with, awesome. Like, A+, very good. And there are a lot of us who are excited to do this kind of science. So, ask for folks. Like, generally, hypno-kinksters love science. That is a generalization I will make.
I think that basically we could have a bumper sticker motto for hypnosis: use the scientific method. Because I think all of us would just laugh and go, yeah, all right, so we've designed our experiment. Let's see if we can repeat the variables.
Were you at that one Entranced 2, perhaps? Like 2016? 2015 Entranced. Everybody and their mother, I mean, that was a poor choice of words. Everybody but everybody had a for science orgasm trigger that year.
Oh, hello, nurse.
There were like 6 people. It was great.
Seriously, for science! And watch them all go, oh.
Yep. It was quite delightful. Perfect.
See, now, I think anybody who really gets into nerddom would really have to do parlez-vous fromage, just because Dexter's Laboratory would be fantastic with that, and nobody would get it until it happened. There went my nerd flag. Yeah.
Amazing.
No, but, I really appreciate the comment you made, because it's very true. I think that everybody who starts off, if you can find a way into the community, if you can find your way to just start talking with people, hell, I mean, FetLife or Twitter or Tumblr, like you pointed out, or Discord.
R.I.P. Tumblr.
Oh, yeah, I know. I hear about that all the time, and I'm like, man, I missed apparently a whole thing.
May its memory be a blessing. No, because it was where I found out about hypno, as that was like an actual thing, and so I'm so sad that it's gone underwater because of some capitalists who can't keep their shit together.
And then they resold it off. I mean,
and very questionable robots.
That too. But I think that's a solid point, because I was one of those people who just spent most of my time reading literature, never really knew about some of the other stuff, and oh look, files are kind of cool. Oh, they don't work the way I want them to. Oh look, I actually know hypnosis now. Ooh, there's so much other stuff out here. God damn it, why was I missing this for so long? Apparently my search foo was terrible.
Because files don't have pre-talk and they don't have personalization, and if files work great for you out of the box, great. And if they don't, that is also fine. And it doesn't mean you're broken or bad at this. It just means they're a very specific medium.
Yep.
I would also like the disclaimer here is that I'm very much still on my subject journey of feeling comfortable as a subject. So this is a lot of me talking out of my ass, or talking from my topping experience, or parroting people who know more about this than I do. But just explore. I don't know.
For the longest time, I shared the little meme: a pancake's not done till it's done both sides, or been flipped to both sides. Mm-hmm. I really appreciate that. I do enjoy being a top. I'm very much a service top, but I really enjoy being a subject because I like figuring out how my mind can work. I like figuring out neat things, new skills, awesome experiences, and it's cool to be on one side of the spiral. But it's also really fun to be on the side that's just staring at it blankly.
True facts. I mean, like, if for anyone out there who like really can't or has a strong limit about switching, like you do you. This is not meant to be a dig, but just like I do think it really does improve your game on either side of the pocket watch to know how the other side feels, even if it's just even if it's just exploration and not play from that side of the watch. I'm a social dancer. I say the same damn thing about dancing. Dancing both roles makes you better. Also, I think social dancing makes you a better hypnotist, but whatever.
That should be an exploration topic at some point. I like that. Rhythm.
When in-person classes happen again, you bet your ass I am teaching a social dance trance class.
Ooh, okay, yeah, I'll have to figure out what part of the country you're in when you're going to set that up, and I will have to come visit, because that sounds amazing. Nerds. We just walk together.
Yep.
Alright, so now that we've talked about, the rumor you want to get rid of, what's one of your favorite kinks that you love with hypnosis? Something that you enjoy? And I've had people say they can't just narrow it down to one, so if you need to go with top 3, please feel free.
You mean like general area of kink to explore via hypnosis, or like specific triggers, or
whatever you feel comfortable with. If it's going to be just, a lot of people say bimbification or mind control or brainwashing. If there's something specific as far as a niche or a small component of something you really enjoy, please, whatever.
Tease and denial probably is my like primary kink outside of hypnosis. Again, I don't get nearly as hardcore about it as some other folks, but by which I mean, like, I'm not going to deny someone until they're crying. Like, that's not my jam. But like, I don't know. I like making people squirm. I like making people beg. And this is one of my preferred kinks because it's killing them with kindness. It's torturing them with pleasure. But like, they are having a good time because they are very obviously experiencing a lot of pleasure. So like, so it's much easier for me to be like chill and secure and knowing that my play partner is having fun because it is extremely obvious. There's a bunch of fun shit you can do, like hypnotic immobilization while you do mean things to them, hypnotic sensitization, make them come and then forget if you're feeling like an asshole.
Wow, that's a new level of evil that I haven't heard before. I like that.
Oh, make them come and then forget. Make them come and then come in reverse, so they're right back on the edge. Like, all sorts of bullshit you can do.
Oh, wow. Okay, so yeah, I found a couple of new things I need to start looking for scripts for. I like that. That's awesome.
I also do teach a class on hypnotic pleasure and its uses in predicament. So maybe I should submit
God,
that to Charmed also.
please do, because I really feel like I'm just going to start making a playlist of places I need to go. What the hell?
That class honestly is like, I don't know, 25% me enjoying being educational and like helping people learn things, and 75% fucking with my delightful play partner demo bottom in front of an audience. Like, I'm not even gonna hide it. It's a very selfish class.
Hey, but you enjoy it, they enjoy it, and everybody else absolutely enjoys it. So I don't
Well,
think that there's
everyone's
a problem with
happy.
this.
The victimless
Right.
crime. The only victim is my
Yeah.
demo bottom, and she likes it. So
There's no crime then.
yeah.
All right. So any other fun ones you want to mention, or do you feel like that's covered your spread?
Um. Uh. I'm not sure if it's its own kink, but like physical hypnosis and just like close interaction, like close physical interactions with someone in trance is just like the hottest shit, and especially um like moving someone around and seeing them respond, or just like that being really up close and seeing the minutia of someone's reactions and being able to play off those is just like A plus good.
That is probably the first time I've ever heard that, but I can absolutely understand that. I can see how that would be enticing. I'm very much a poke a thing with a stick to see what it does, and in that
Mm-hmm.
situation, it is absolutely the raw situation for them. There's no guile, there's no obfuscation. It is just, oh look, I move them and they do a thing.
Oh no, it's fucking great. It's super connective. It's, I mean, like going back to social dancing for a sec, like dancing someone into trance and just seeing how closely they're following you. Ugh,
Oh,
fucking love it.
yeah. Seriously, there's a little bit of a sploosh there. Pardon.
How you doing? You need a break? Doing okay?
Yeah, maybe a cigarette. Um, I tell you what, though, that has been the most fun about all of these interviews. Is I could find out about so many more kinks that I had no idea about. The interesting
Oh,
thoughts of like, oh, please, yes.
it's great. I keep a list on my phone of shit I want to do someday.
We need to create oh, what was it? A wish board like they had at Charles, and somebody's gonna start putting up little tag notes on the internet of like, totally want to do this, and watch somebody just snatch that shit up and be like, hey, how you doing, buddy? Of
I would
course,
kind
then
of love
internet.
that. I mean, like, it would
Yeah,
be a shit show because it's the internet, but if there were a
it
way
is.
to moderate that, it would be delightful.
So what I'm thinking is internal community inside of a registered folks where, yeah, okay, no, that totally is a thing. No, that's going to happen at some point. All right. All right. So you were talking about classes that you make. What's obviously you find that educating people in something is not only joyful for you but joyful for them. What's one of the hardest things about, I guess, hypnotic subjects, not the individuals, but the topics,
Eh.
teaching them, like at conventions or in local classes or just even on the internet? What's some of the hard parts about? Is it just can't find good topics, hard to find the material, hard to find good demo bottoms?
That's a great question. I am blessed to have no shortage of demo bottoms because I have just a handful of delightful folks and friends that I play with this stuff with. And hi, friends, if I trance you and you're listening to this, you're a delight. Um, and honestly, teaching class with someone can be a great excuse to get to know them better. Um, Coalescing ideas into an actual class topic and because just and like digging into the things I do enough to be able to teach them, because a lot of my technique and style is just riffing and seeing what happens.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard to then go back on this stuff I pulled out of my ass and be like, what is the unifying theme here that I could turn into a class thesis? I don't fucking know. And it would probably be easier if I did not love structures and frameworks and like feel that I need to fit ideas into a central thesis in order to teach a class on them, which is like not actually necessary. I've seen some great classes that were just like, let me just show you some shit I do. But so being able to talk about things in a structured, coherent way, but also just like finding ideas and convincing myself I have stuff worth saying about them. Because like I feel like for 90% of the stuff I do, I know someone who I think is way, way, way more knowledgeable about that thing than me. And it's like, well, why would I teach a class when they're clearly the person who should be teaching this class?
I think that's a hurdle that everybody has to get over at a certain point. I think that everybody should realize that their own voice is just as important as others. And I think that just because you feel like you don't have enough to say doesn't make you any less important or knowledgeable than the other individual, because I think you learn by teaching just as much as they learn from you teaching, by the questions they ask, the things that you get at, the things you think of while you're having the discussion. Maybe it leads to 20 different thoughts. And honestly, I think sometimes it just takes that little bit of extra confidence and energy to get up in front of it. Maybe the other person just doesn't really want to expend that. So good on you for actually doing the classes.
Thank you. No, I absolutely agree. Like I would go see like 5 different friends of mine teach the exact same class, because something different would come out of it every time.
Yep.
And I also like have certainly sat down with a tiny, tiny germ of a class idea, be like, I don't have enough to talk about, and then just like banged my head at an outline for a while, and it's like, oh hey, wait, I actually have a full class here. That's great. But like anyone out there who's considering presenting, do it. Especially if you are not a white dude. I would love to see you present. If you are a bottom or a top of some sort, I would love to see you present. If you're quiet and don't normally talk loudly at HypnoCake events, I would love to see you present. Like, do it. If you have class ideas and want someone to talk over your thoughts, your outlines with, please do hit me up. I would love to help more folks get their foot into presenting, because it's so much fun.
And in an online format, it gives you a lot of leeway for doing things, whether it be the ability to practice ahead of time, have your material set up, a lot less nervousness because, you can't see them, they can't see you. Most of the time, it's just a sea of letters and names, but no faces.
I think that is probably true for a lot of people. I will say I fucking hate teaching online, and I'd much rather teach in person, because I'm kind of a ham. I kind of feed off energy and attention.
I would never have guessed that.
Look, okay.
I've only known you for like 40 minutes, and I'm already getting a sense of that, so...
I don't know what you're talking about. So I'm excited for going back to in-person events. Jesus H. Christ.
I think that's a solid point, though. Energy is such a thing for me. I consider myself an ambivert. I like having conversations with people. Most conversations, small talk and all that, are just tiresome. They don't serve any purpose. But when you have that conversation in which you're both riffing off ideas, or having a conversation in which you're both excited about something, the energy is palpable. And that is something that doesn't happen really easily on the internet, because, let's just say, latency sucks. Microphones like to drop things. No.
Also, if you're trancing online, remember to include in your suggestions that they can come up if the call drops.
Words to live by, mood. Yeah. So I'm going to ask a question. I think I kind of already have a sense of this from you, but do you feel that as somebody who's been in the community for a while, that you kind of have not an obligation, but do you feel that it's important to kind of share your knowledge with the next generation or other people in the community? Like education is something that you feel is something more people should do, or is it something that you do just because you have a passion for it, and if people want to, great. If they don't, no worries.
That's an interesting question. I No, I don't think you have an obligation to be a presenter. I think that that is very much some people's jam, very much not others' jam, and I totally respect that. Although um, I want to make it as easy as possible for folks who are curious or think it might be their jam, but are a little shy. I want to make it really easy for those folks to do it if they're interested. But I don't think it's I don't think it's an obligation, and I think you should be allowed to just be in the community and enjoy it without necessarily having to, do
Be
the give
involved
of
or
yourself thing. Hmm?
yeah. No,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
keep going.
To not necessarily have to put yourself on the line as a presenter, but I do think people have a responsibility to make sure that if they're around folks who are new, that they're modeling good consent practices and to not mislead folks who are new or a little less experienced. Yeah, the question in the outline you originally sent me was as a content creator, do you have an obligation to educate? And I was also thinking about that in the context of uh smut and erotica and files, um, which I also do dabble in. Um,
Oh, really?
oh
And
yes.
sorry, please keep going. Please keep going. Yeah.
um, yes, you can find me babbling at you on the internet in multiple places. Um, no, and I don't have a hugely coherent thought about that, except again, I don't think it's an obligation, but I think it is a good thing to do where you can, and you are laudable for doing it. So, right, hardcore non-con smut, like I hope most people understand that it's hardcore non-con smut. I would appreciate it if people put disclaimers that this is non-con and should not be attempted in real life. Um, but no, okay, you know what it is? It's no, I don't know what it is. Sorry, hang on. Uh, please hold. Brain buffering.
You did say you're retired. That's understandable.
Appreciate it, and not in the sexy fun way, just in the really quotidian capitalist workforce way.
Quotidian. I don't think I've heard it used that way before. Okay.
I'm a nerd. Yeah,
You want to let that percolate and maybe we hit back on it, or
yeah. I keep thinking of I think 50 Shades of Grey does a disservice to the world because you're presenting something shitty and abusive as normalized and okay and sexy. And so I'm trying to figure out people's smut that they post on the internet should not necessarily need to be a tool for social education, and but also if you're posting fucked up shit, it's good to mention that it is fucked up shit and should not be taken seriously. um but the thing that is not obligatory, but that I definitely appreciate, is when people do use their smut as a tool for education or for normalization of things that I wish were more widespread, like aftercare. Like if you have a real rough fucked up non-con thing, and then afterwards they're doing aftercare and like, it's not everyone's cup of tea to end on a happy, smiley note like that. But for me, it's just like, oh, somebody showing real play and like how these relationships can actually be really affectionate and sweet, and that I really like.
And to your point, originally the question was around content creators because a lot of people that I talk to do make files, which honestly I didn't know you did. Yay, learn something new.
Yay.
But at the same time, I always find that it's difficult to find things on the internet related to hypnosis towards explanations of things that aren't either A, garbage, B, misinformation, or C, something that just doesn't really leave you understanding anything more than when you started.
Mm-hmm.
And this coming from an individual who just, broke in the community a year ago, you find these books, they're great. You find stuff on YouTube, awesome. But you don't ever really find the thing you're looking for sometimes. And so sometimes it's a little bit more about, hey, do more people toss out more education? But I think your point's 100% valid. I think that the point of being involved with other people, just being aware of the community, and if somebody comes and asks you a question, just remember, you started where they did. Take the time. Explain it nice.
Yep. That said, if you are in a position of power in the community, and especially if you're a white and or male type person, taking the time to help other folks in a non-predatory, non-creepy way and just like giving back is, like, I think the more power you have in the community and the less shit you had to go through to get there, the more of an obligation you have to help the next folks have a leg up, because theoretically you have a little bit of energy to spare in ways that some other folks who had to, fight harder for their place in this community don't. And I say that as a white woman who like had a pretty easy time of it. Like, definitely excited to give back some of the ease I had in getting situated to help others.
I take that lesson to heart because I am a white male who is, I wouldn't say power, but I'm trying to do something more to help others just because I can. And I think that's the way everybody should look at things. If you have the opportunity to give back a little bit, why not? Does it cost you anything more? Maybe a little bit of energy, but it ends up helping out so many more people that really just pays itself back in dividends.
Absolutely. I will say, if this is your literal job, then no, you are not obligated to work for us for free. But this is for those of us who are hobbyists, not for those of us who are sex workers and make their damn living on this. Because A+ power to you. I hope you get paid.
Preach. Yeah, absolutely. You guys have a rough time in the first place. No, absolutely. So, moving on to one of the next ones, what's one of the biggest changes that you've seen in the community in the last 5 or 6 years that you've been in it? With some people, we've talked that consent being a major thing popping up as one. Some people talking about like the ability and the advent of internet catching up to be able to do online play, files, the distribution of content, easy to have access. Those were all things that they had seen come around.
I mean, I think the biggest change that I've experienced has been the dissolution of Hypno-Tumblr and the like diaspora effect on Hypno-Kingsters.
I have heard that echo.
Yeah, because it was. I mean, I won't pretend that all of the Hypno-Kingsters were on Tumblr, but there was a fairly cohesive group of folks, and then Tumblr exploded, and everyone kind of scattered to the four corners, and there are still friends that I like. Some friends I keep in touch with on Discord, and some on Skype, and some on Twitter, and every now and then I talk to a friend on Discord, and I'm like, are you on Twitter? And they say no, but I'm on, I don't know, Mastodon or whatever the heck.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just much harder to keep track of everyone, and that's a shame. But one good thing that has come out of, but like, it's hard to keep track of everyone, and that's a shame. But it has been like putting the community through the spin cycle, and everyone has settled out into different pockets than they were in before. So like, I am now talking to some people that I wouldn't have otherwise because I now exist in the same pocket of internet as them. So that's pretty cool.
That's actually a really good point.
Not worth it for the dissolution of a big ass hypno village on the internet, but like silver lining for sure. Like met some lovely people on Tumblr.
Change is never a bad thing. Sometimes it's used to rock the boat a little.
I disagree. Change is horrible and I wish it would stop.
All right. 2020 has to end eventually. We're just hoping 2021 is nicer. I
agree. Please, for the love of God.
Somebody stop throwing stones. So, with that being said, what's something you always want to see more of in the community? I think you were talking before about people giving back, but is there more smut that you want to see? Are there more people getting involved in building communities? What is something that you wish would kind of continue to grow in the community, or wish you would see more of?
People breaking out of traditional BDSM, like traditional old guardy BDSM and kink approaches to hypno, like more like smiling and fun and silliness, which I think we've been doing a great job of doing. And like, I love that hypno kinksters don't take themselves too seriously. I love this trend. I would like it to continue and not be like serious business, serious kink time. More non-men topping, more men bottoming, more queer hypnosis, all of the queer hypnosis, like actually 10 times the queer hypnosis, please. And just like people continuing to be their badass selves and exploring what they're authentically interested in and not letting yourself be boxed in by some bullshit stereotypes and standards.
I think that's a great view. I think it's unique, and I think that it is exactly on point and on a message. I think that more people need to be a little sillier about things. I think anybody who comes walking in with a cape, a hat, and a pocket watch should be like, no, you look silly enough. Turn around, take the cape off. Let's do this right. Smile, tell a joke. Hey, would you like to drop right now? What? Gone. See, you can have fun with these things.
I may or may not have a mustache on a stick in my room ready for use at all times.
First, everything is better on a stick. 2, Jose Jalapeno on a stick. Always had the great mustache.
What?
Okay, if Jeff Dunham has a talking puppet that's a jalapeno on a stick.
Very good.
Okay. I'll send you links later, don't worry.
Yeah. Yes, I am very, very tentatively planning with a friend a class on hypnotic silliness. It's going to happen one day. I don't know what's going to be in it, but it's going to happen.
Ooh! Can you use hand buzzers as shock tactics for inductions? Yes, that would be amazing.
Probably. If we're feeling ballsy about it, we're just going to like have a giant box of props. Like maybe we'll ask the con to give us last year's Lost and Found, and just have the audience like challenge us to do inductions with different random shit and see what we come up with.
I always laugh. There was a story that I read in which somebody had it was like a box sitting on a table and 5 people came around it. She's like, well, just go ahead and open up the box. And, it pops open and there's just like loud noises. Bang, bang, bang. And she's like, sleep. And people are dropping. I'm like, okay, that's silly. But at the same time, that sounds like a lot of fun. I would love to watch that.
Oh, no, I'm in. That sounds great.
Right? Oh, so much fun. Okay, so that's something more we want to see in the community, which I will absolutely be following you on that because I think that sounds amazing.
Thank you for your service.
Absolutely. I am happy to follow or lead whatever is required of me at the time. So, have you ever been to a hypnosis convention before or done like a lot of done like local group stuff?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Okay.
I have unfortunately not been to Charm, which is some bullshit. But like I said, I have a vanilla life, other hat obligation that's consistently the weekend before. So it's hard to make it. And I try to do 1 year on, 1 year off. And then that one time I was going to do Charmed, I couldn't for reasons.
Yep.
One day I will make it. But I have been to Nihu and Entranced and Beguiled and my local group over here where I live.
Okay. So, what's one piece of advice who's never been to a convention or a local group should really know before walking in? Something that you feel like would help make their lives a little bit easier for that first nervous experience for them?
Um, that everyone is probably really excited to have you and your great self in the community. Um, and you are gonna. I I wish it weren't so, but you're going to have to put yourself out there a little bit. In large part because, especially at a con, everyone is freaking out seeing old friends they haven't seen in like 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
A lot of like, oh my god, good to see you, bonding and catching up happening, which means it can look like we're not happy to see you, but we are. We're just a little distracted, I promise, but like, come say hi.
That's great. I think that is probably a piece of advice I would have loved to have been given before I went to Charm, because you're right. You walk in through the doors, everybody seems to know everybody. I think that what you said, though, was exactly on point. Everybody was happy to have new people. Everybody took you under your wing. They were very happy to introduce you, to find new things, to figure out where you're from. But you have to put yourself out there. You have to be at least willing enough to walk up to the table and go, "Hi, I'm new." After that, you don't have to talk. They'll take care of you.
I wish you could like sign up for an extrovert buddy at one of these events.
Oh, that should totally be a thing.
Right?
That needs to be a thing.
I mean, you're Concom. You have the power.
I'm working on the. I'll work on this. Physical space, because I don't think we need to have extrovert buddies for on the internet. I think that might just
Please,
lead to some
man,
very interesting.
that's my emotional support extrovert.
He looks like a stuffy. Yeah, it's okay. Just hug it. No, I think it's a great piece of advice, and I think that it's exactly spot on. I think the community is small enough that everybody likely knows at least one person there, and they're always happy to meet new people. I think that's the interesting thing about kink in the first place. In the regular world, everybody's like, I don't really want to deal with other people. In the kink world, it's like, oh my god, you love this stuff too? Yes. Alright, we're going to be best friends. I can see this happening.
Turns out we're all nerds.
Yes, nerdgasms, nerd flags, totally a thing. Thankfully, I don't think we have the fandom problem like, they do in other places, but who knows? Maybe the bimbos are going to take over from the... Wait, are there jocks? No.
Well, see, the thing is, jocks, I mean, I kind of think of like the Domly Dom old guard. Sorry, I shouldn't throw around the word old guard because it has a specific meaning, but like the Domly Dom master tops, very serious dudes. They can be the jocks.
Yeah, no.
Ooh, I shouldn't say that though, because there are some lovely jocks. Do you realize? A friend told me this the other day, and it fucking blew my mind. Do you realize jocks are just sports nerds?
Yep.
It's wild. Like I never thought of it that way before, but it's true.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you laugh about it, but when it comes down to like D&D nerds and sports nerds, you basically have fantasy football, which is effectively like D&D for sports people. You take that and everything makes so much more sense. That's the reason why they know all the statistics. You can quote the rule books out of D&D. They can quote Brett Favre's favorite pina colada. I don't know. Saying.
How many kinds of... Okay, it's fine.
Right? Just let it lie. We're going to... Okay, so... what else could be the thing? So, do you have any fun memories that you would love to share as we're kind of winding down? Anything story-wise that might entice or, titillate people who are interested in the hypnosis community?
Yeah, I... In an example of us just taking the weirdest shit and running with it, the first... So Nihu has or at least in the past has had some like scenes specifically for observation and perving on. So you do your scene in just a kind of a public venue for folks to watch if they're interested. And the first of those scenes that I ever participated in was I was one of two co-tops for a dinosaur bimbofication scene.
Oh, this already sounds fascinating.
Because I was sitting around at a my local group's like kind Hypno 101 thing. Like we had just split the group in half, and half was we're going to go do trance practice, and the other half who were new were going to do Hypno 101. And someone was writing down like what are some ideas of some things you can do with hypnosis, and we had a whole big list. I don't know, freeze play, breath play, blah blah blah, bimbofication, transformation, dinosaur transformation, and there was some really blessed whiteboard placement so that dinosaur bimbofication was just right there. We were like, shit, that has to be a thing now. And then in the yes and spirit of hypno-kinksters everywhere, we were like, we can make it a thing. We have the technology. And then we did the scene in front of a room full of people, and it was great.
Oh, that sounds amazing. All I'm imagining is the T-Rex from the Robinsons who's, trying to explain why he can't grab the kid. I'm just imagining that in bimbo version.
Friend.
Yes. That's great. See, and that's something that I think that people should really appreciate more, is because, like you said, we have the technology. I'm sorry. You want to do what? We can do that. You want to do that? We can do that. There is no limits. All you have to do is have time and interest, and you can make anything happen with hypnosis.
I fucking love it. It's great. I mean, I also, as a sidebar, like, kind of don't understand the existence of vanilla hypnotists. Like, how could you know this is a thing and not use it for sex? But also, how could you know this is a thing and not use it for goofy shenanigans?
I'm kind of split board on that because I'm very much a fan of exploring and experimentation and figuring out how humans react to stuff. And at the same time, yeah, the sex part as well. But it's human brain. It is puzzle maximus. There is no end to it. And sometimes you open up the wrong door. But you might find something interesting when you do that.
Like a goat. What?
Wait, you're going to do a goat behind a door? Wait, what?
But do you want to switch doors or stick with the goat? Never mind.
Oh, I'll take behind what? Door number 3. Nope.
No, sorry. Better luck next time.
Well, all right. Anything you want to add before we wrap up for the interview?
I'm sure I'm going to listen back to this and be like, damn, I forgot to say my central thesis of hypno life philosophy. I don't know. Do science. Be good to each other. Think about what turns you on. Have a good time. I'll see many of you at some con or on the internet. And it's been a blast to chat. Thank you so much for having me.
See, that is probably going to be the best sign-off I've ever heard. So, yes, absolutely. I look forward to many of your classes. I hope that you submit them all. And if not, I will hopefully happily stalk you in a friendly and consent-given way that I can get to see the rest of the classes.
Yeah, follow me on the internets, and I will see you. I'll see you on the computer screen.
Alrighty. Well, thank you very much for the time.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.